5-1 aggregate then for Real Madrid as they make it through to the next round, where they're, of course, face Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals. So more on this. Let's welcome in, shall we, Frank Leboeuf. First off,
nice haircut, by the way.
Thank you very much.
That's what piqued my interest at the start of the show.
Good,
when you saw me pointing over at you. But you know, I'm not.
Real Madrid the better team over two legs.
Listen, you may have watched the game, the full 90 at home. You may not. If you've just watched the highlights there, I think my opinion that those highlights are, maybe for obvious reason, are very Manchester City centric, because Real Madrid had a lot of other chances, particularly in the first half. I know we're showing wave of Man City possibly getting 2 or 3 goals in the first half, but not just that Valverde chance. Real Madrid could have had 2, 3, maybe 4 in the first half as well, and the second half. So this scoreline could have been crazy, but it also could have been a lot worse for Man City. They got what they deserved over 2 legs. Absolutely nothing. They blew it in the Bernabeu. He blew it with his team selection. It was always going to be a tough ask tonight. They huffed and puffed, but they weren't clinical enough. Courtois played well. Lunin played well. But again, Real Madrid could have had themselves 4 or 5 tonight in Manchester. And that was always going to be the case because City were having to push forward. But if you put the whole thing in context, Manchester City, this juggernaut that's been, certainly in English football, has been given a lesson over 2 legs, 5 goals to 1, by a Real Madrid side that have struggled for 90% of the season, certainly domestically. And I think that puts in perspective where Pep Guardiola's City are at the moment. They're not a great side, and Real Madrid showed that.
Pep Guardiola said ahead of this game, Real Madrid had 3 shots on target and scored 3 at the Bernabeu. So that gives us hope going into this game. And that's the difference, though. If you're not clinical enough in front of goal, you're out. And that's exactly... We talk about Manchester City's defence a lot, but they've only managed 1 goal against a makeshift Real Madrid defence over 180 minutes.
And while they had multiple opportunities that looked like half chances, that the final pass wasn't quite there, then the final touch wasn't quite there, it's a lot of ifs and buts. It's a lot of moral victories if you are Manchester City, and that's just not going to be good enough against Real Madrid, even this version of Real Madrid. Now, Craig is talking about the chances that Real Madrid had. Vinny scored 2 goals tonight, should have had, not could have had, should have had 5. 100% chances, 100% opportunity. So to sort of simplify this conversation, if you're Pep Guardiola, and say, well, look, we had a really good start to the game in Madrid and we're not able to capitalize then. And we had a really good start of the game here. We couldn't quite capitalize tonight either. And so that's the difference. No, it isn't. It isn't. That is seeing it from your perspective and from the perspective of what makes your team look better, which I assume is part of the job of a manager. But the truth is, when you consider on the balance of 180 minutes, part of what makes you a good team, an elite team, is being able to finish your chances. Real Madrid did that. And whatever chance Manchester City had tonight, all of that disappeared the moment that Bernardo Silva gives you one of this, the chicken wing, red card, goal, good night. Everybody knew it. We knew it. But more importantly, Erling Haaland, and Craig mentioned it in the highlight, Erling Haaland, with the body language, is telling you, I don't really believe that we're in this. If they don't believe, then why should we believe? Truth is, Real Madrid were better over 180 minutes.
He scored in 41 minutes, Erling Haaland. He scuffed it into the net and then he went...
Maybe you forgot.
At that point, they needed 3 goals. And they had 50, they had probably 5 or 6 minutes of the first half and a full second half to play. And yet here he was going, it's over. It's almost like his body language in those moments. It was over. Look, Real Madrid, the fullbacks, Trent Alexander. We keep hearing about City's wide players. Semedo was benched. Doku with his pace. We keep hearing about this. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who can't defend, and Fran Garcia, who's, just nothing more than a squad player at Real Madrid. And yet they're able to come over 2 legs and certainly come to the Etihad and win the game. Not only go through, but win the game. With you mentioned it's a makeshift back 4 for Man City, but it's a makeshift back 4 for Real Madrid. I'm sorry, but from City's perspective, this has just not been good enough.
And Frank, that's fair. People say, yeah, but Real Madrid, you know what their history is like in the Champions League. They always up their game. They didn't really have to be at the very top of the game over these 2 legs to dismiss Manchester City.
Yes, and I would have to agree with the guys in the explanations. Yeah, it wasn't enough from Manchester City, and it's true that Real Madrid is Real Madrid on Champions League, and maybe they have a sort of power coming out, and they're getting better, but City helped them to do so, and I would have a slight difference of analyzing the two games, especially the first one, because City had chances. They would have scored, it would have been a different game, especially with the Real Madrid kind of mood, and maybe there would have been a different scenario. But it's true, if you're not able to score the chances that you have, you can expect, some returns and bad stuff from the opponent. It's what happened to Real Madrid, because they have the strength, they have the talent for that, and they show that during the two games. And that's only fair that they're going through because of the lack of efficiency from Manchester City, and of course because of the lack of good defender that they don't have anymore for quite a while now. So it's only a fair result. But I would have loved to see a different scenario again if Manchester City would have scored early in the first leg.
Bayern Munich next round.
What? Yeah, that should be fun. I mean, Bayern are not as daft and crazy, and they're more organised. They're not perfect, but they're more organised. They have arguably better informed players going forward.
They're certainly more clinical.
With Kane to come back, he's had some injury. Michael Olise has been brilliant. Luis Diaz, Serge Gnabry, Musiala's fit again. Leonard Carroll, the list goes on. They're not going to be as open. And I said before the two legs with Manchester City and Real Madrid, it's all going to boil down to what kind of defensive display City put up over the two legs. And we got the answer. Not good enough. I think it's a completely different kettle of fish, Real Madrid against. I mean, it's going to be a super game.
Absolutely.
An attacking game. And you can't rule Real Madrid out because of the way they played. Now, if you'd have said to me before the City game, a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I would have said, I see Real Madrid going out because the way we watch them play in La Liga every week. But I'm sort of betwixt and between. Have they really upped their game because it's the Champions League night and the shirt on? Or is a big part of that this City side are a shambles when they don't have the ball? When they have the ball, they're a shambles, because when they cough it up, they get opened up so easily. But I don't think Bayern will, and Vincent Kompany's team are a lot smarter than Man City. So, yeah, that's going to be a great game. But if I was Real Madrid, I'd be buoyed about this. It's just this momentum to get to the end of the season.
Yes.
Not just in the Champions League, but in La Liga, where they are tailing behind Barcelona, obviously. But just try and build that momentum with Mbappe back on the pitch again tonight. Vinicius doing what he does best, scoring goals, winding the crowd up, always looking a threat. So, yeah, they were much, much better. But I can't help but feeling that City sort of laid these two games on a plate for them, and Real Madrid just went, we're going to absolutely take that.
And to that point about Manchester City, before we spin it forward to Bayern Munich, I don't know if I'm the only one. I imagine that I'm not. That feels like we were expecting so much more out of these two games. I think we got more from Real Madrid than we thought we were going to get, and particularly with the absence of Kylian Mbappe and the injuries that they have had in that back line and injuries that they have had over the course of the season and coming into these two set of matches. And we certainly did not get, not even merely or closely to enough that what we saw Manchester City was going to give us. And so what we thought was going to be a really subtle, competitive, magical two legs of Manchester City, Real Madrid, or Champions League, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. This is why we go through the league phase, so that eventually we can get to this point. It was a dud. It was a letdown. And not from Real Madrid's perspective. They did what they had to do and what was presented in front of them and took advantage of that. I thought there was a very mature performance from Real Madrid over the two legs, particularly tonight, taking advantage of the things that were in front of them, not giving anything away in the back. But as it pertains to Manchester City, they really came up short and never met the level of importance of the occasion. And when have we said that from Pep Guardiola teams? I think we started saying it last year and the struggles that they had. And we continue to say that this season. And in all honesty, we focus on the body language of Erling Haaland, and rightfully so. Pep Guardiola doesn't look like the sort of guy who's fully interested and engaged in what's going on with Manchester City. There's a lot of sort of like sarcasm and the way that he takes the press conferences is kind of disinterested and kind of sniping back at the media. When things were flying, he was engaging, he was thoughtful with his answers. Now he's just like, And that in itself tells me, I'm merely speculating here, but it doesn't look to me like a guy who's fully engaged for the long term with Manchester City.
Could be, of course, his last game. Could be his last game in charge of City in the Champions League.
The Champions League? Yeah, I would think so. I think he's he's been superseded by Arsenal at the moment. His team are vulnerable. They don't have the same clinical nature about them. They don't dominate, although they had dominated a fair chunk of this game, certainly until they went down to 10 men. And even after that, they still had a lot of the ball. But they don't really have that energy anymore. I agree. He doesn't really seem to. He seems very casual in the sidelines, as if he's accepted that. And listen, I understand that. A bit like Klopp at Liverpool. It's difficult to keep going year in, year out, to have that success and to have that drive. So I understand it, and I think he probably realises it's coming to the time to step away. But you look at his bench today, his squad is huge. And then you look at what he wanted and what he got in January. He got his wide attacking player to add to all the other ones he's got. And he got his centre-half that could have went to most clubs in Europe, and Mark Guéhi. And what did he do to him tonight? He left him on the bench. And I said to you last week, I know he's got the cup final in the weekend, so maybe he was thinking a little bit about that. But does that mean he chucked this game tonight by leaving a couple of these players?
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Well, I know, but why? I understood Kusanov playing because of his pace, because they were going to leave themselves open, and boy, he is quick. So I kind of got that. When they're attacking, the ball's going over the top. That boy's kind of Kyle Walker quick. But you've signed Guéhi and Semenyo, and you've got your biggest game of the season, and they're on the bench. And Luis and Ruben Diaz hasn't exactly been brilliant as the other centre half, has he? He hasn't been playing particularly well for quite some time now. So the team selections are strange, and it goes back to something I said to you a week or two ago. You could sit with a bit of paper, every Man City big game, and write down 6 different City teams and not get the right one.
Yeah.
Too many changes, too often.
So once again, it's Real Madrid with the bragging rights, knocking Manchester City out of the Champions League. This is, of course, a feeling that Real Madrid are used to. 4-2. These teams, of course, have met a lot in the knockout stages. Real Madrid very much beating Manchester City when it comes to the head-to-head. PSG fans waving au revoir to Rafinha's Chelsea as they are out 8-2 on aggregate. Let's get Frank Leboeuf on this, shall we? Frank, PSG turned it on when they needed to.
Exactly. First, well done for your French. Amazing.
Merci beaucoup.
I never heard you sing au revoir that well. Oh wow, amazing too. That wasn't even a fight. Yeah, I'm sure. No, that wasn't even a game, a second leg. We were expecting something, special. And Luis Enrique was very clever. You know what he did? He put a big pressure every time they Chelsea had the ball. They were high on the field, and they put the pressure, ready to fight with them. And with a cushion of 3 goals from the first leg, they were just expecting some mistakes. But with all due respect to any professional player, what Mamadou Sarr is doing on the first goal, it's simply and not understandable. I mean, it's crazy because as Ali was saying, he doesn't even look at the ball. He doesn't really check the ball. He only checked what Kvaratskhelia is doing. So that was insane for me. And the game was already over. And with the talent of the Paris Saint-Germain players, we knew that in counter-attack they're going to be punished, and it's what happened in the second game. So, well, Chelsea have lost that fight against Paris Saint-Germain when Jurgen Klopp made that stupid mistake in the first leg for me, because they were much better than Paris Saint-Germain. When I was at the game, I say, wow, Paris Saint-Germain, and even the atmosphere in the stand were going down. Paris Saint-Germain is struggling right now, and until that Jurgen Klopp mistake, they were there. And
Frank, that's a nice excuse, isn't it?
They lost that game.
They conceded 8 goals.
Well, yeah, no, that's sure. There is no excuse after that. But they were 2-2 at that point. And they were there. away from home against the best team in the
long's
world,
the match?
supposedly,
74 minutes,
right now. So, yeah, but because you make a mistake, you lose the corner. I'm going to that point. Yeah, we are sometimes talking about the inexperience of that team, but some players are not 25, 26, and they should get the lead. I'm talking about Fernandes, Reece James. He wasn't there today, but some other, Cole Palmer. We don't see them a lot. They draw at the same time of the other player with the young players. We don't have any, and it's what I was complaining when there was a change of that club, that they got rid of the experienced players. Where are the experienced players now? I don't see any. They are players, they are good players when everything goes right, but when something goes wrong, we don't see them anymore.
We'll talk about Chelsea in a moment. Just a word on PSG. We talked about Manchester City missing opportunities. Boy, PSG are clinical, aren't they? Mm-hmm. You give them a chance, they're going to take it, and that's why, you wouldn't want to play them, of course, not in this tournament.
Well, the big question is are they going to build this sort of momentum and form and start getting players back from now to the end of the season like they did last year? I think if that's the case, they're going to put the fear factor in every other side.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're at the level they were this time last year, even though this is a great result, obviously. But Chelsea are not the strongest team in this competition. There's no getting away from that. Although they beat Barcelona early in it, Barcelona had a shocker that night at Stamford Bridge. I think the difference in class just showed through there. And you just always felt PSG have got extra gears when they need to. Kvaratskhelia came off the bench in the first leg, did brilliantly. He's a terrific player, but hadn't been doing so well, so spent a bit of time on the bench. So he starts tonight. Obviously he's a huge threat. And who do they get, PSG?
They will get either
Liverpool?
Liverpool-Galatasaray.
Right. So they are. We know what state Liverpool are in.
Yeah.
And we know if Galatasaray are able to pull it off at Anfield, and they could, that they're a side that really shouldn't cause PSG too many problems over 180 minutes. And by the way, neither should Liverpool.
Yeah.
This current Liverpool side. Yeah. PSG, if it is Liverpool that goes through tomorrow, and that's a big if, the way they're playing, I think either of those teams, this PSG team, it's not quite the Arsenal side of the draw, but it's a pretty healthy one when you consider Real Madrid are going to play Bayern Munich. So if I was PSG, I'd be relatively comfortable with where I am at the moment.
They had some big boy swagger today.
Yes, and that's what I was going to address then, that you may have questioned the qualities of PSG leading up to this two-game series against Chelsea. And for those first 74 minutes in that first leg, you kind of go, this PSG team is vulnerable.
Yeah.
They have issues. They have concerns. They don't control the game the way that they used to. They don't press the ball the way that they used to. And so coming into the second leg, I thought not that there was a chance for Chelsea to get back into it, but at the very least to make it competitive. And to your point, it was a big boy performance from PSG. It was a European champion performance from PSG with that sort of quality on the ball, with that sort of quality tactically, with that sort of quality in terms of the maturity with which they play. And when the mistakes were there and were made by Chelsea and were offered to PSG was there to take advantage of all those mistakes. They also have an individual quality that was very clear to see, and the contrast or the difference between what they have and what Chelsea do not have. If indeed Kvaratskhelia is a guy that is coming off the bench as he did in the first leg, and you watch him play, you kind of go, why is this guy ever on the bench? And there's a reason as to why Luis Enrique decided, he's not quite ready for the big time just yet. Well, he was ready for the big time once he came off the bench, made a difference in the first leg, was a difference maker again today. And you look across the board, and if it's not him, it's Barcola. If it's not Barcola, it's Desiree Doué. If not that guy, and Dembele, we're not even talking about Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah. We're not even it's not even a conversation. And this team just went to Stamford Bridge, won it 3-0, 8-2 an aggregate. Yes, big boy against a team that is pretending to be a big boy team, not quite there yet.
I don't know if it was the same part of the competition. I think it was around this time last year. They actually had some issues, PSG that is, with Aston Villa in the second leg at Villa Park.
Yeah.
When it was going a little awry for them at one point before they put the pedal to the metal. And then they got that result against this Villa side, who you could argue made a better fist of it over two legs than this Chelsea team, and particularly the game at Villa Park. And then PSG just kicked on, didn't they?
Yeah.
They just, and I think Luis Enrique knows that this team are, because they've proven it. They've shown them last year that they are capable of finding gears that nobody else could live with. I mean, beating that Inter side 5-0, how organised they are was something special. So it was around this time last year again when it was played an English team. They won, had a few problems, and then just kicked it on to another level that nobody else could live with.
Right. I promise you, there is no agenda here against Liam Rosenior. We obviously discuss what we see. We talked about the huddle and the ball and the referee. This is in the 84th minute where he's giving tactical instructions to Garnacho.
Well, there is
Who's taking it really well.
Well, there is a guy being stretchered off, right?
Yes.
So they are going to...
Chalobah was taking off.
Yeah, and I think they're 6 goals behind, as you said, with 5 minutes left, and he's sending on. And this just sort of compounds all the other stuff from the last few... In fact, it goes back to his first ever press conference at Chelsea, when you just thought, right, this is going to be a car crash. Not in terms of what has always been on the field, but in terms of how he addresses the media and his rhetoric. Off the back of the weekend, with this ludicrous respect the ball huddle nonsense, to sending on an instructional note in 85 minutes. Your guy's getting stretchered off. You might just say, listen, just you go and stay there. Hey, Jim, John, just go and stand there, right? Just play there, but the game's dead. Pour me a cup of tea. I'll just sit down.
Maybe the fans who stayed were making a lot of noise.
The only way that naughty papers get any use to it, if it says on it, everyone meet in the pub in the King's Road 1 hour after the game and we'll have a beer. Anything else is a waste of time.
Frank?
Seriously.
Yeah, well, I have a hard time to find an excuse to Liam Rosenior to explain what he was doing. But we see that a lot. I mean, many times I see coaches, on the sideline, winning the game like for 4-0 and getting upset about a player missing a control of the ball or pass, whatever, and the other way around, losing like today and giving instructions. And I remember Ruud Gullit, Gianluca Vialli, Claudio Ranieri. If we were leading the game easily or losing, for sure, on the bench, seated, waiting for the end of the game. So I'm going to talk to the guys. Well, I'm not going to waste my energy for nothing, for those bunch of people who don't do what I want. So, yeah, what do they do? I don't know. Nowadays, it's like they have to show they are into the game for 100 minutes maybe, to make sure that they're very professional. Now, chill out, man. It's too late. We know that it's too late. We've been there. Nothing's going to change. So just sit down. And it's not only Liam, really. I've seen even Pep Guardiola being upset with a player at the 89th minute when they were winning. They were leading 5-0. That's stupid in the other side, Don't pretend to be the perfection, you have to be the perfection. No, come on. That's just football.
Did you see all the lads looking at it? As it get passed by, they were going, well, yeah. But wouldn't it be great?
You have to put your reading glasses on.
Funny enough, I've got a pair of reading glasses. I always kept a pair of reading glasses inside my shin pads for when a note came on. I went,
wait a minute.
Stop the game. Wouldn't it be funny if the note was getting passed along and it said, hey lads, we're still in this.
Yes.
We're still in it. 5 minutes to go. We can get 6.
I believe in you.
Well, not that Garnacho should be the example to follow in anything in particular. But his first reaction when he was the one getting the note is like, now what do I do with this?
Yeah, no.
And he could not wait to just get rid of that note and just pass it around and somebody else do it. My message to Liam Rosenior is, it's not just the note. It's the press conferences. It's a conversation with the media. Less is more, buddy.
Yeah.
Less is more. You don't have to be smarter than everybody else in this room and try to prove it every time that you speak. Your team needs to look the part on the field, and they did not look the part to be competitive with PSG tonight.
So Arsenal 2, Bayer Leverkusen 0, 3-1 on aggregate. Arsenal will face Sporting, spoiler alert, in the next round.
Another one that will be in the corner of the TV.
Hey, fair play, it's professional. You're getting through, it's no sweat.
I've got no problem with Arsenal winning the league the way they are. I mean, I have got no problem with it. Whatever the success is at the end of the season is success. But until they play, and I know they've played Bayern Munich in this competition already, but until we get to the knockout stages, and it's not their fault, but until they play, which they probably will in the semi-finals, barring a disaster, one of the real big boys, I'm not really going to sit up and take notice. because there are better games to watch and there are bigger stories. But that's not their fault. They're in this side of the draw. It's fallen on the lap. Leverkusen was tougher than it should have been for them. They put up a good fight over the two legs, in all fairness to them. They're not Germany's strongest team by a stretch. And Arsenal are England's strongest team by a stretch. So Leverkusen put up a decent fight. But until they get to that semi-final, which is where I expect them to be, that's when the questions are going to be answered. And I think they have the answers to that, but they're going to have to play a more expansive game. I can't remember who they may or may not get in the semi-final.
So they get Sporting, then get Barca or Atleti, in theory.
Right. Arsenal Atleti. Oh, God. I've got the flu that day. Probably Barca. So that, they'll have to evolve if it's Barcelona in the semi-finals, because Barcelona will not let them play that type of game. But, they're doing what they're doing. They're in the cup final at the weekend. They're going to win the league, in the quarterfinals of this, still in the FA Cup. So can't be complaining.
And will they win the quadruple, Frank?
Well, it's possible. Yeah, why not? They have the team for that. They have the depth on the bench for that, and they have the football for that as well. Because today, for example, I checked the statistic with the Bayer Leverkusen having 54% of the possession of the ball, made like 200 more passes than the Arsenal. But have you seen the 2 goals? You get the ball back, you want control, you shoot, goal. Second one, not a good clearance. Declan Rice got the ball, control, goal, shoot, goal. Football has to be easy. Nowadays, some people and most coaches think that to have the ball and to have the control of the ball and the possession of the ball makes the difference. No, I'm very sorry. Sometimes you have to be clinical. And Arsenal is clinical. When they have a chance to score, they don't bother. They go for it. And it's what I like today by Eze and by Declan Rice. They go easy. They have one chance to score, they go for it.
They can win the Champions League.
Arsenal has every chance to win this Champions League. And if indeed it's Barcelona in the semi-finals, let's project forward, because I think we all think that they're going to get past Sporting. And let's assume it's Barcelona. What are some of the areas that Barcelona struggles? Well, defensively they struggle. Defensive set pieces, they struggle. What are some of the things that Arsenal can take advantage of? Oh, wait a minute. Offensive set pieces. And physically, it feels like they would be able to dominate Barcelona. And so as then you start kind of positioning yourself and who could they potentially face in the final? The one team that I think would give Arsenal issues would indeed be Bayern Munich. Because offensively, they can trouble this team. They can create chances of their own. But again, what is the one thing that I can point at Bayern Munich that they don't do very well? Defensive set pieces. And what does Arsenal do very well? Offensive set pieces. So yeah, the pathway is right there for Arsenal. And what I think is important for them is that they have time to get themselves better. I don't think they're going to be pushed in the Premier League. And let's just assume that this weekend they win the League Cup. Now there's a trophy that it's going to only help this team elevate the level of confidence. I think the Premier League is going to be done by the time, or close by the time we get to that semi-final stage. You watch Manchester City play and you don't think that this team is going to stay with Arsenal consistently so. So there is a pathway by which you can think that Arsenal can elevate their level of play offensively to where they not only work their way through Barcelona, but are the favorites going into the final against potentially a team like Bayern Munich.
You can, of course, see whether or not they complete part of their quadruple. There we go. In the FA Cup quarter-finals, which are live at the start of April, Arsenal, of course, nice trip to Southampton. The big tie is Manchester City against Liverpool. Early start, of course, for Stevie, 7:15 Eastern on ESPN+. Right then, big news coming out of Africa as they have awarded the African Cup of Nations this year to Monaco. We all remember those Morocco, sorry. We all remember what happened at the end of the game. Of course, we saw the Senegalese players walk off, and as a result of that, the African FA have said they forfeited the game, therefore they have given it to Morocco. We have found Colin Udo. Thank you so much for coming on, Colin. Of course, this is breaking news. What was your reaction when you heard this?
I think I had my jaw on the floor. when I heard it. I was speechless. Absolutely unbelievable. Like, I think this, for me, this is the most disgraceful decision that CAF has ever taken in the history of that organization. This should never have been allowed to happen. And the fact that the CAF Appeals Committee have done that is disgraceful, is shameful. And I think it sets African football back 100 years, to be honest, because there is no way this should have been allowed to stand, whether by the rules of the competition or by the FIFA laws of the game. It's very clear. Look, they claim that Article 82 said that if the team leaves the grounds, then they forfeit the game. But Senegal never left the ground. Senegal were on the ground, because you can say there's a difference between on the pitch or the field of play and the grounds. And the laws of the game with FIFA laws of the game are very clear. The pitch and the grounds are two separate things. Senegal never left the grounds. But more than that, the most important thing is when they came back, the referee continued the game. And the laws of Law 5 says that the referee's decision on the field and the result of the game are final. So for an appeals body to come and overturn the result of the game, I think it's shocking, it's disgraceful, it's illegal, and I would be surprised if Senegal don't take it to CAF, and if they go there, I expect them to win.
Why is this taking so long, Colin?
Well, they made a decision earlier, and then Morocco appealed. But then a lot of stuff was going on there. I mean, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we had the South African Minister of Sport had a long press conference where he talked about the fact that Morocco were holding CAF hostage because Morocco did not want to host the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Apparently, he was insinuating that it was sort of leveraged by Morocco on CAF to ensure that, they got because they did not win the Africa Cup of Nations. So whether that was true or not, I don't know. But the Minister of Sport, Gayton Mackenzie, said that CAF are trying to hold the CAF president hostage just because they lost the Africa Cup of Nations, and that's why they are withdrawing from hosting the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, which was supposed to start yesterday, but has now been moved to August. And then immediately after CAF announced that, or almost immediately, we see this result from the appeals committee saying that the result of the AFCON final has been overturned and Morocco declared winner. So, I mean, I can't say for sure if that's what happened, but the fact that it took so long and then all of this happening in quick succession, I think it's just a big problem for CAF.
Wow. If you're a Morocco player, how are you celebrating this?
Well, Brahim Diaz is.
It feels empty, doesn't it? There's
Well, I don't know how busy they are with the open-top buses, but I don't know if they've got get one back.
Morocco's having a parade.
Get another parade. I'm with Colin. I just don't like this. What happened was distasteful, and I think it was unnecessary, pretty unsporting from the Senegalese players. But the result stood. The game finished. Morocco had an opportunity to still win this final, and they did not. So, and I think most people had moved on from that as well.
Yeah.
Although it was a big talking point at the time. That was then. This is now. The game was played out. Did it finish on penalties? I think it finished on penalties when Brahim Diaz tried the Panenka and blah, blah, blah. So both teams still had an opportunity to win it. You can't go back. You just lose all. You lose any credit. And there is already a big credibility problem for AFCON, right? There is a big credibility problem for some of the things that go on there. And this is just putting another nail in the coffin of people that say this part of this region lacks credibility when it comes to big decisions. You can't go back a couple of months later, whatever it is, and just change a result in a final and say, all right, now you didn't win it, Morocco won it. It can't happen like that.
This decision, if it was going to be made, it should have been made by the referee the moment that Senegal walked off the field and refused to come back on the field, up until they were convinced, essentially, by Sadio Mane and others to say, no, listen, hey, come on back. At that point, if the referee wanted to continue the game and Senegal was still in the locker room, then that's when the decision needed to be made. That's when you can bring into question whatever the behavior was of Senegal. The moment the referee allows for Senegal to come back on the field, and now we play the game out, and Sarr scores the goal that he scored, or Diop scores the goal that he scored, it was 1-0, then that's it. as Craig just mentioned, everybody's now playing under the same rules, and everybody understands that the outcome of this extra time is going to be the outcome of the game. This has now been decided essentially under the table, in back alleys, in a boardroom somewhere, with shady phone calls and shady behavior from people that have power over people that want power and need power. And that is when you start questioning who indeed is making these decisions and why are these decisions made.
Frank?
No, I think about the players, both sides. If I'm a Moroccan player, to start with them, I say, well, okay, I won the AFCON title. Yeah, but it's too late for me. I already digested it. I lost on the field. So what's the point to get the trophy and to get the title? Because it's not the feeling that I have. And then if I'm a Senegalese player, I played, I won. I got the silverware, I got the medal, I won't give it back. And I will put on my resume that I was the winner. So it doesn't mean anything. People will still think that Senegal won, and it won't change anything. That's the thing. Because even on the player's head, it is what it is. Like the guy said, that was the final whistle, and at the final whistle, Senegal won the game. So it's over. It's too late.
How does this end, do you think, Colin? Do you think the appeal will be successful?
Look, going by the loss of the game, I think it will be. Like, I mean, we've said the same thing over and over. What Senegal did was not right, no matter what happened. But the point is, the loss of the game are clear. The referee's decision is final. If the referee, at the point that Senegal left the field and went to the dressing room, if he had ended the game there and then yes, Senegal would have forfeited. But Morocco came back. They had a chance to win the game. They played a penalty. They missed it. And that aside, the moment the referee restarted that game, everything that happened before then was out the window. So if you go by that and Senegal go to CAS, the referee's decision on every football game is the final decision. Once the referee started that game and the game ended, the result will stand. And it's clear in the FIFA laws of the game. I mean, if we look at it, the PGMOL in England came in, I think, was it this week, to say that there were 18 errors in refereeing errors during the course of the Premier League. None of those results have gone, nobody has gone back to overturn those results, even though admittedly there were errors. So the simple thing is cut and dried, black and white. Once the referee has ended the game, the result of that game must stand. So whatever CAF has done now, I think Senegal should go to CAS, and I think they'll win their appeal.
Colin, I appreciate you very much for coming. Where were you driving? Anywhere exciting?
Oh, I was actually refereeing a game. I went to referee a high school game, and I just came out of refereeing a game, and I got in the car. I was about to go. I checked my phone, and I see it, and my jaw completely dropped. So yeah, I just finished refereeing a game, and I'm on my way home now.
The game stopped.
Of course.
The kids are still waiting on
this
you. Where's the referee?
He said he's going on ESPN. Liverpool against Galatasaray. 1-0, of course, lead that Galatasaray will take into the second leg at Anfield. Here's Arne Slot.
I just wonder what concerns that you may have, that looking even longer term, the fans are beginning to get restless, and what impact that can have.
Yeah, no, it's never nice that they are frustrated, because usually fans are not frustrated after you win. So first of all, you're frustrated yourself and disappointed about the fact that we haven't won. Second of all, people have told me when I came here that if I think you mean it was also towards me, I don't know if you mean that, but when I came here, people have said to me, this club is different than other clubs. They will support the manager for such a long time. So the moment, if it's true what you're saying, I don't feel this at all, but you are supposing something, then I must have done a lot of things wrong, and that's never a nice feeling to have, because being in the club that's always so supportive for the manager in good and bad times. Then if they are not happy with me, then apparently I've done so many things wrong, and that's never a nice feeling to have. But I also know how the football industry works. Winning can change a lot, and that's what we are trying to achieve tomorrow night. And we're completely ready for that, I can tell you that.
Who's going through, Frank?
Well, according to what I saw from Galatasaray away from home, I would say Liverpool. I want to believe that the Reds have all the tools at Anfield to to win that game and go through. But it won't be easy for sure, because we have seen Liverpool playing lately, and it's not, of course, the Liverpool we have known, and so a tight result, but for Liverpool.
Burley?
It's hard to, just go back to that. The answer is I don't know, because Liverpool, I just cannot trust them one iota at the moment. The only thing in their favour, they're at home, and Galatasaray tend to struggle away from home. They're much more of a force in Istanbul. We talked a lot about managers and press conferences and rhetoric, and I know he's struggling at the moment. I know his team are not playing great, but it is kind of hard to dislike him when he talks to the media, because he talks at least with some respect to people asking the questions, and he talks with, for the most part, there's the odd occasion, but he talks with common sense. He knows they're struggling. He knows he's struggling to find the answers. He knows they're not defending particularly well. Dominik Szoboszlai was quoted at the weekend saying we need to wake up. Well, that's been from the first day of the season. That's been from the Community Shield, and that's not really changed. Whenever you think they've got a big performance in them, they make mistakes. It's whether Galatasaray can take advantage of that. Now, if you'd have said to me, this Liverpool team were at the top of the game with all these new signings, it's quite an easy one for me. They're going to go through. But I haven't really seen a Liverpool game this year, there maybe has been the odd one, I can't remember, that I've sat back and I've gone, well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Well, that was a walk in the park. Well, they're smoking a cigar here, because there's been hardly any games that they've done that. Every game, even when they've been leading, they've coughed up goals or chances. So I've probably got Liverpool by a smidge, but I wouldn't put money on it, Galatasaray going through, because of, particularly after watching Liverpool at the weekend against Tottenham.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to take Liverpool, but stressful.
Right.
Suffering.
Stevie's not here tomorrow.
Anxiety at Anfield. Anxiety in the sidelines.
Yeah.
And while I understand that Arne Slot feels the need to engage the conversation and the back and forth, and while he's respectful of doing it, I would also say to him the same thing I was saying to Liam Rosinho. Less is more. That answer should have been winning changes everything. And our intent is to win tomorrow and to advance. And if we do that, we know that this stadium is going to get behind us. We have to give them reasons to get behind us, period. We don't have to get into the what you mean, what I mean, what he means, what he means. Look, it's about winning, and it's about advancing against Galatasaray. You do that, it sets you up for success into the weekend. But you need to find momentum from Liverpool. And the only way that you manufacture momentum is by playing well, being dominant. They'll be dominant enough tomorrow.
Right.
Survival.
Barcelona, meanwhile, taking on Newcastle. 1-1, of course, it finished at St James's Park. No surprise, Barca are the favourites to go through. What are you expecting in this, Frank?
Well, I don't want you to win your bet. So I'm expecting Barcelona to do the job and go through. I have a hard time to see Barcelona being in danger at home. They're going to try, of course, offensively. They're going to be open defensively, but we know that. But if they are good enough in the counter-pressing, if they are good enough, not losing the ball when they are attacking, I have a hard time seeing Newcastle being able to survive in that pressure and not making mistakes at a certain point. So, yes, Barcelona with his squad, forward line, I think they're going to go through.
Yeah.
I can see Newcastle giving them a few problems with their pace. If it's Barnes, Elanga, and Anthony Gordon, I can see some opportunities, but I just don't think they're good enough defensively to keep out this Barca midfield stroke front line, particularly at home. Barca, that is, they were really pedestrian in the game at St James's Park. I don't think we'll see that again. So, yeah, Newcastle will huff and puff and may get a goal. May get some chances over the top against the high line. But I don't see them, looking at the record this year defensively, keeping out this Barca attack from scoring 2 or 3 goals at home. I just can't see it. So Barca to go through.
Yeah, you take Barcelona, but more importantly, what you want to see from Barcelona is them being able to recreate the performance from the second leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final against Atletico Madrid at home. If they play with that sort of intensity, with the crowd on top of the players and the players on top of Newcastle, let me just tell you, this will not be competitive. But they have to be able to play at that level, and I think Barcelona will. I think Barcelona wins this and wins big.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. I'm Dan Thomas. Craig Burley is here, as is Ali Moreno. Frank Leboeuf joins us from France. Let's start off with this. Arsenal's POTS so far, Gabriel, Rice or another? Frank, player of the season, if you would like that cleared up.
Who's that? Declan Rice?
Who would be your player of the season from Arsenal? Gabriel, Rice or someone else?
No, Rice.
Rice.
There is no competition for me.
There
the guy has been the best player, maybe in Europe, maybe in the world. You know, for most of the time, he's been at the top of the top.
God, that music's really loud today. They're trying to drive Frank out.
But the fact that it is Rice, it kind of tells you what Arsenal have been this season, sort of that industrious sort of style, and that's how they've gotten results, and more power to them. If that's how they go about winning, so be it.
What could Liam Rossigna have possibly written on that piece of paper in the 80th minute? Would you have even bothered reading it if you were on the field? We discussed this, obviously, during the show. Yes, indeed, it was the 85th. I was just reading what was there, Craig.
Yeah, I know. Well, you can always paraphrase.
Yeah, I'm just there. What would you have done if Jim Smith had brought you over back in the day to show you a bit of paper?
Chucked it at him. And I went to him, what's the point?
Like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Jim wouldn't have done that, right? Jim would have been in the bar. Because he'd go, this game's over.
Frank, you played under some great managers. Would they have done that with you, and how would you have responded?
I don't know. I would have gone to the touchline and say, "Are you kidding? That was a joke or what?" Because you really think that it will be useful what you are doing right now? Now, really, that it doesn't mean anything. Maybe it was a joke. Really, maybe it was a joke. Keep going, guys. I believe in you. But whatever. A stupid thing. I don't know. But the funny that the guy who received it, was looking for another player to give him instruction.
Yeah.
And maybe the player that he was talking about was already substituted, and we don't know. Maybe it was he lost his mind, maybe. Now, that was insane. I mean, and it's not the only one, again, I said it during the show, he's not the only one to have done those kind of things. I don't know what those new coach from the new era are trying to show us, because we know that's completely useless.
First of all, it's all for show.
Right.
It is all for show, because how many tactical changes did you need to make at that moment in time that you couldn't just say to somebody, you drop in a left back, you step into the midfield? Why does this need to be?
Maybe he just needs to write that down to communicate it clearly.
Or maybe he's taking food orders for the post-game meal. But it's just unnecessary, and it's all for show, and it doesn't help anybody.
For Frank, if you were the current Chelsea player, what would be your dressing room talk after such 1- and 2-leg horrendous performances?
Well, I don't know if people will talk and will allow me to talk, but I would say to the guy that what we did was shameful, that we didn't do what we had to do, especially the second leg. The first leg, we make mistake, you punish for that, okay, but you cannot have this attitude on the second leg where you have to make sure you're gonna the opponent's gonna struggle because you play at home. You have to have a warrior attitude. You have to be aggressive in a good way, but very aggressive. You have to scare the opponent and show them that you're at home, and it's gonna be that way and not the other way. And it's been the other way from the first second. So I would have said, guys, we didn't do it, but what would have been my performance as well? You can talk if you've been there, if you've been good, but if you've been bad, you shut up and you take your shower and you go back home.
Nice.
I'm intrigued here.
Oh.
Yes.
When you go into the barbers,
Yes.
what's the conversation? What do you ask for?
What do you mean?
What do you?
I just said I wanted
No, but seriously, because you've came out and it's like, what do you ask for?
I wanted a fade up to a 1 to the top and then short on the top. That's what I wanted.
What did you say to the guy or the woman?
Craig, let's not do hair.
Well, no, I'm comfortable with it because I'm older than you.
Right.
But you have a hell of a V at the front now.
I know, it's there.
I mean,
but I'm comfortable with it.
No, you need to try and grow. You need to try and grow it out.
You shouldn't be comfortable with it.
You got to try.
But I'm happy with it. I'm
But
very
I'm not happy.
It
Look
looks
at
like
it.
a parrot.
Craig,
You know, it looks
when
like
you've
a
been through what
parrot.
I've been through, you don't care about hair. You don't care about.
Are you sending me
things like that.
Are you setting me up for HR at this point?
You see life from a different perspective.
Exactly.
Up
Hair
building,
is hair.
building 13 or wherever it is over there.
Don't pretend you don't know.
Right. I've just come out. I've just had a life-saving liver transplant. Oh, the stress,
exactly,
the pain,
exactly.
and I'm in there. I'm getting abused about my haircut.
Was there somebody in your parking spot today?
Yes,
was
again.
Yes.
You really have.
Report.
You've got to grow up here. Because people keep parking in your spot.
Yep.
Well, I'm parking it when you're not here.
Yeah.
But I know you're off.
Well, we get hunt down 3,000 employees to find out which one.
No, it's the same one.
No, it's different.
There's that car's been in there more
It
than
was
once.
the Kia, wasn't it, today?
The Kia, go out and rip the windscreen wipers off and scratch the car.
All right. HR, here we go.
No.
Building 13
No.
again.
I'll do it for you. So you shouldn't be parking in. Two things.
Two things.
People shouldn't be parking in your spot
Right.
and talking about your hair.
There you go. Right, let's get back to soccer.
Right, let's go.
Enzo Fernandez said to ESPN Argentina.
Shut up. No, you have to leave some. You have to leave some instruction. You know, on the window.
Right.
You know, like Liam Reese Senior. You know,
Yes,
get
With a
out
piece
of
of
here. You know,
paper.
otherwise you're gonna struggle.
There's
you know?
no respect.
Yeah,
Okay.
a piece of paper. You know,
Right,
that's what you have to do.
ESPN Argentina did an interview with Enzo Fernandez after the game.
After the game, right?
And they said, "Are you going to stay at Chelsea?" He said, "I don't know. There are 8 games left and the FA Cup. There's the World Cup and then we'll see."
Yeah, what? And what?
That leads to this question. What do you guys make of Enzo Fernandez refusing to guarantee he's going to stay at Chelsea in the future?
Well, that's his choice. Like every player.
That's a come and get me plea though, isn't it? That's not, I'm staying, I'm committed to Chelsea, I look forward to battling next season to win the Champions League.
Why would certain players? And I'm not. Listen, I think some of the things good player, but you know he's a bit of a crybaby on the field. But if you look at it from a serious player's perspective, the club's hiring and firing managers. Then they bring in this young guy who is very inexperienced, and there's already talk about him being under some sort of pressure from the boardroom. His rhetoric's not helping. His recent results are not helping. So maybe he has aspirations about going to play in Spain or somewhere else. So I haven't got an issue with that.
He's got Atletico Madrid written all over him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, and if there was ever a player that fits the mold,
Yes.
it would indeed be Enzo Fernandez. But basically, it's a wait and see sort of thing. And that's why you answer the question in that manner. Let me see what's going to happen at this club. I don't have to make this decision now. Let me allow things to play out, and then with more information, I can make a decision that is best for me.
Hasn't he got like the rest of them some crazy long contract?
I imagine so.
So it's not really his decision, is it?
Frankie wants to leave.
Good luck. You know, I never forgave him for what he did. You know, straight after the World Cup to his French friend from his team. So I don't mind if he leaves the club. He's a good player, but he's not the kind of player that I want to see at my best club because he's not an example for me. So again, what he did after the World Cup, if some other players forgave him, I will never forgive him. That's the song that he sang was absolutely stupid.
Wow, Frank, but that's Evening Standard material.
That's it.
Yeah. Good riddance to Enzo Fernandez. There we go.
Chelsea legend.
Does Evening Standard still exist? Anyway, Frank, a record 6 Premier League clubs advanced to round of 16. Your friend, Michel Platini's famous phrase was, "English soccer is lions in the winter, lambs by the spring," refers to the tendency of Premier League clubs to perform strongly in the winter but fade during the knockout stages. Your thoughts?
Well, when Michel Platini talks, I listen to him because he's a legend, and he knew the football at the time. Well, I want to say that nowadays I can see that they didn't really change for English football. But well, you know what? Most of the time when Michel Platini was playing against English club, players were English or Scottish. Now I saw Liverpool playing without an English, except when some other players come. I played for Chelsea without an English guy in the first 11. So that's a different era. So, but it's true that lately we have seen English club being better during the winter and not that good at spring because of maybe the heat, maybe the tightness. I don't know, of the Premier League. So that's still okay for me.
This new Champions League format somehow coughed up fixtures and results that allowed a struggling Liverpool and more importantly, an awful Tottenham to get into the top 8 with a bye. And Newcastle advanced as well. So who are struggling in the Premier League. This isn't because the Premier League is strong. It's because the format, for whatever reason, coughed up games that were winnable for these teams.
Do you think the mentality is different? Do you think the Premier League sides go into the group stage matches at full throttle, as opposed to a Real Madrid or PSG? Like, we're going to get through, it's fine. You know, we don't need to go 100% in these ties. Hence, we talked about PSG struggling in the group stages, Real Madrid losing stupid games. Yet you see the Premier League clubs going, we've got to win every single match and we've got to put in 100%, as opposed to others that have got more experience.
I don't think Real Madrid weren't trying. They were just not playing particularly well. But, you know, obviously Arsenal could still fly a flag for a Premier League and you know, obviously Liverpool and Newcastle, but it's unlikely. But I've always felt that Arsenal are the only ones. Arsenal will be the only team standing when they meet a decent side, potentially. The others will fall by the wayside because they're not strong enough. And that's because the Premier League itself, regardless of what people say, Arsenal are the only real heavy hitter in there at the moment. The rest of them have all got their issues. Yeah. All got their issues. So, you know, and I also have always believed that some of the Central European countries like Spain and Germany and Italy, but particularly Spain, I think their teams a lot of the time are technically and tactically more astute when it gets to these nitty-gritty games in semi-finals and finals. I do. I think just technically at times they understand the game a little bit better. Not all the time. And I think that's where some of the Premier League clubs have faltered over the years.
What do you want to say, Frank?
Just one thing that, the most English clubs like Chelsea, Manchester City, and I forgot some others, didn't have a break time during the summer because of that Club World Cup, and they don't have the break for winter, which is kind of useful. I remember playing in France and they say, well, it's nice to have a week of break, and I like that you can go back and train with the guys and keep the willingness that you need. In England, you never stop. So maybe you have to rethink that a little bit.
But I think that people bring that out as an excuse. Honestly, Frank, I know what you're saying in the sense that, you know, Germany have a break and I think Spain have a shorter break. However, Liverpool have won it, City have won it, Chelsea have won it. They've all won it in recent times. And nobody really talked about a winter break when they were winning it. Yeah. It certainly only raises its head when some of the teams struggle. Look, at the end of the day, there are other teams outside the Premier League and other leagues that are very competitive. We obviously cover La Liga every week. When it comes to the crunch, a lot of times the Spanish and the Italians, in particular, and the Germans have been a little bit better.
Could it be just as simple that in this year in particular, there's only one really good elite level team in the Premier League, and that's Arsenal. Everybody else is not at that level, so it's not a surprise that, more likely than not, all of them, except Arsenal, will be out at this round.
Final question, Ali, will you be watching the World Baseball Classic final tonight between Venezuela and USA?
100% I'll be watching and, of course, supporting Venezuela.
What's the percentage chance? How do we work this out?
I'm concerned about the pitching for Venezuela.
Yeah, that's what Craig was saying
and
before.
Whether he can hold up. Whether he can hold up. What are you? Is that a slider? What are you throwing? A slider? A curveball? What is that? All right. All right. Okay.
What are you laughing at?
I'm concerned about the pitching. But if it holds up, then we can hit from the first hitter to the ninth hitter. And Venezuela has a lot of good hitters. And we have the crowd with us in Miami.
Right.
All of Venezuela will be in that stadium. Venezuela. Vamos, Venezuela!
Have you won it before?
No, sir.
Okay.
What about
We've
when they
never
get-
made it to the final.
What about when
nice.
they get the celebs out now and again in these games to throw the first pitch? You know?
Yeah, yes.
And it looks so weak.
Yes, there are some
Well,
great
if
ones.
you throw it like that,
Oh, my
I
shoulder.
thought you had a rotator cuff injury there for a
Frank, when
second.
you lived in LA, did they ever ask you, as a former World Cup winner, to throw out the first pitch at the Dodgers or something?
No, I didn't have that chance. I've never been to a baseball game. I would have loved to. No. But France, was that kind of a World Cup, baseball World Cup, or just a one game?
I know,
With
it's a World
Venezuela
Cup.
and,
Yes, it's a World Cup.
It's a World Baseball
Venezuela
Classic.
beat Italy.
Okay, and France.
Oh, that well-renowned baseball
There
team
you
in
go.
Italy.
And France, where were France? They were there, France, or no? We don't have any team there? or?
No, you did not make it.
No.
No.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, Frank.
Okay, we missed the cut. No, that's okay. That's all right. We cannot be good at
Why do we
everything,
care
you
if
know. So
Canada's
it's all
in it? Why are you
right.
telling me that? Because they speak French. Oh, don't bring
Canada's
that up.
kind of French. That's a bit of an insult. It's a bit of an insult, isn't it? Just because they throw out the odd bit of French lingo in Quebec.
Is that an insult too?
Yeah.
Is that an insult to
Are
the
you-
French or the Canadians?
Are you insulted?
ESPN FC returns to your screens tomorrow. Galatasaray playing Liverpool.
Au revoir.
Spurs against Atleti. Newcastle.
Respect
Barcelona.
Dan's parking spot,
Yeah,
please.
respect the hair. God, it's been a hard year.